But first, want to highlight the fact that Vice President Mike Pence is fired up and taking aim at the NBA for appeasing to China's censorship when it comes to Hong Kong protests. Take a listen to his speech at the Wilson Center earlier today in Washington, D.C.
And some of the NBA's biggest players and owners who routinely exercise their freedom to criticize this country lose their voices when it comes to the freedom and rights of the people of China. In siding with the Chinese Communist Party and silencing free speech, the NBA is acting like a wholly owned subsidiary of that authoritarian regime.
Wow. Wholly owned subsidiary. Pence is also calling out Nike for, quote, leaving its social conscience at the door when it comes to Hong Kong. Guys, I mean, VP Mike Pence is not traditionally too outspoken about these things, but today the gloves are off.
I mean, look, the message is accurate. I agree with him, but it's hilarious considering the messenger.
Are you talking about back before?
Yes, I'm talking about when he spent over $300,000 of taxpayer money to go fly to a Colts game to just get up and walk out minutes later when he saw a bunch of football players kneeling on the field to protest for Black Lives Matter during the anthem. It's just hilarious.
It is. I mean,
it's hilarious coming from Pence.
The corollary here, right, Jack? And I know you played in the NFL, the NBA, very different league. But you know, the NBA has historically been that league that has promoted its players to speak out. Of course, we remember LeBron James. We've highlighted that in this saga about how he wasn't just going to shut up and dribble. He was going to speak out about social injustices. He has chosen not to speak any more about Hong Kong after he already addressed the press one time. What do you make of VP Mike Pence coming out here and attacking the NBA?
First off, if you ask Mike Pence, he got up because he didn't want to see anyone disrespecting the United States flag. Do I agree with him? I can't say that I do. I can't say that I don't. But I know one thing. I'm sick and tired of folks using what I call convenient social justice. All right? If you're going to be a social justice warrior and you're going to stand for people of all colors who are ridiculed, who are killed, who are displaced, who are put in these concentration camps, be consistent with your message. If you want to be about social justice, be about social justice. I do work all over the globe for people of color, and I can tell you right now, I was absolutely disgusted by the greatest basketball player of this generation, not including Michael Jordan, not standing up for those people in China, because when you put dollars over your principles and over American dignity and pride, I got a problem with that. So, Mike Pence, thank you for being a leader on this issue and keep on calling them out.
Yeah, I assume you're talking about LeBron James being the best, player here.
Yes, to that point, yeah, LeBron needs to be called out, but I would also say so does Mike Pence.
Well, he also called out, Mike Pence called out Nike as well when we're talking about the NBA and Nike. Nike kind of in a similar boat here when we talk about products being pulled from their shelves. Houston Rockets products being pulled from their shelves in China after it was Daryl Morey, the GM of that team, who tweeted in favor of
convenient social justice. When they make money, they're social justice warriors when they're making money. When it's hitting their pocket, they shut up.
The NBA, Nike, all of these companies absolutely do consider profits over social justice initiatives. And as we see from certain politicians, I would say Mike Pence, they put politics over the same thing.
I can't agree with you on that. I think as a vice president of a country, I think you stand up for the principles and morals of that country as you see them. Now, do I agree with black men getting shot? No, I don't. But there's no one in that NFL stadium that shot a black person. And there's no cop in that NFL stadium that shot a black person. I will go to the police departments where these crooked cops are shooting black kids in the streets, and I'll stand in front of them with anybody. But I'm not going to sit here and put a blind label on everybody when I know there's so many good cops in America. So I can't sit here and say that I completely disagree with everything that Mike Pence says.
The interesting thing, too, here is that we have, up until this point, Hong Kong has not been one of those issues necessarily that President Trump or Vice President Mike Pence has really wanted to talk about, because let's remember, this is all ongoing as we continue to see U.S.-China trade get hammered out.
Right.
And now that you have Mike Pence kind of talking about this and addressing it the way it is, we've already seen China going back and forth with Adam Silver over how much power they should have over what the NBA is doing in China.
But
now you have the Vice President.
But what's that say? What's that say to
why.
you about how hard he is standing for what his principles?
Is he
For him
though?
to be in the middle of a
But
trade
is
deal
he-
and still calling them out.
But is he
The
though?
NBA didn't take that approach.
It's really okay, but it's really convenient for people to latch on to what is happening right now in Hong Kong with the protesters over democracy, but really convenient for the United States and for a United States elected official to ignore what happens in China at scale. We continue to do trade and deal economically with China, yet we seem to be turning a blind eye to the human rights record that China has outside of Hong Kong. People put into prison without due process of law. You have people that are executed without due process of law. People who have said that they're political prisoners that exist outside of Hong Kong. And yet I have not heard Mike Pence say one thing about what the Chinese government does to dissidents inside that country. But when it comes to Hong Kong and the protests, all of a sudden he wants to be up in arms that the NBA seems to be bowing down to China over money.
Nike.
Again, I'm not necessarily disagreeing with his message. I think that he was spot on here to
But
call
the
out
Trump
this-
administration
to call out
is the first administration to take on China. How can you say that? He's the first. This is the first administration of our time to take on these people.
A lot of people have given him credit for that. I mean, we're talking about the trade deal. A lot of people have been saying that China has been taking advantage of the U.S. economically for quite some time, and now we're getting into it with the trade deal. You can make pro cons depending on how this trade deal plays out.